Hey guys, it's Andres with Camp Canine Training. Today I'm going to show you Teddy. Teddy is an 11-month-old yellow lab that came to us. Parents surrendered him, and he is spent the last 5-6 days out at VCA Apex. So I just picked him up this morning. I'm going to show you his before video that I do for the before and after videos, how he's pulling me all over the place, and then I'm going to show you how I teach dogs to walk the leash with him specifically. The reason I picked him is because he's really anxious. He's super highly motivated and loaded, so he just wants to go, and he's pulling everybody in a lot of directions. So remember my training philosophy before I show you all these videos. We have timing, we have motivation, we have consistency. So we have 3 pillars of training. Timing, we only have 1.3 seconds for dogs to associate cause and effect. So we want to reward or correct behaviors pretty much as they're happening. Motivation, we can use negative motivation or positive motivation. So with the negative motivation, we can use a leash attached to a collar, not a harness, which you'll see in a second. We can use a pinch collar, we can use an e-collar when utilized, desensitized, and introduced properly. With the positive motivations, we want to use food, toys, or affection. In this case, you're going to see that I use affection with Teddy. So just by marking yes and giving affection, we make it physical. So always motivate them, either by giving them affection, giving them foods, giving them toys, or giving a pop on the leash. It becomes very, very important. And then the last and most important thing is we want to stay consistent. So consistency is key. So we're going to teach him the leash, and then whoever decides to pick him up, work with him, adopt him, foster him, they need to be able to make sure they're keeping up with the rewards and the timing and the motivation. Because if not, then all the training is going to go back, and he's going to be back at square one where he's dog and leash reactive. So I just wanted to touch base on the pillars, and then now I'm going to show you the before and after, guys.
Teddy, come on, bud. Teddy, come here, bud. Teddy, can you sit? Teddy, can you sit? Teddy, sit. Teddy, heel. Teddy, come on, bud. That's a good boy, Teddy.
Hey guys, it's Andres with Camp Canine Training. Today we have Teddy. He's an 11-month-old lab mix, which comes to us from VCA. He was boarded there for about 7 days. Owner surrendered him. Now he's going to be part of People at Rescue. I'm going to use him as a demo today to teach you the steps to be able to teach your dog how to walk on a leash properly. Teddy here will spend about 10 months in a crate and was never desensitized to anything and was never walking on a leash. So notice he's on 2 leashes. The red one is what he came in with, which is a harness, and that's something that we don't utilize. The reason we don't use a harness is because all the power comes from the chest on a dog. That's the reason why Siberian Huskies wear harnesses, because the more weight they have in the back, the more they're going to pull. This will create an opposition reflex, which means the more the dog pulls, the more tension I have on the leash, the more they're going to want to go forward. So we don't want an opposition reflex. So get a really thin leash and get a collar that's very thin and put it as high on the neck as possible, as far back on the ears. The more control we have of a dog is from up above the neck. The lower it is, the more control they have. So remember that the collar needs to be super high up, and that we need to have the leash attached to the collar that's highest there. We always start with a flat buckle or a slip lead, and then move on to a pinch if we need to. And then depending on the level of negative motivation, we would need a small micro pinch, a medium, or a large. If you have a large dog, doesn't necessarily mean that you need a large pinch collar. So now that we got rid of the harness and the leash here, we are going to start teaching Teddy here the leash. The way we're going to do that is, the first thing is I want you to have a loose leash. Remember that if we hold the leash like this, we're making the decision for the dog. I want the leash to be as loose as possible. So you're going to see me refer this as buckle down, and that means obviously that the buckle's hanging down here. If the buckle's hanging down, it means we have no pressure and the dog is making the decision to stay. We're going to go through a 5-step correction reward process. The 5-step correction reward process is we're going to mark the moment that they decide to leave the heel position. They're gonna hit themselves with a correction at the end of a leash. We're gonna mark heel, mark yes, and then reward physical. So I'm gonna show you guys how that's gonna go. So here you can see Teddy already locking on to the dogs that are coming. So we're gonna mark no. We're gonna immediately turn around and he's gonna give himself a correction. Immediately when he looks up at us, we're gonna recommand heel. And once he comes back up to the heel position, I'm gonna wait a little bit longer here and until I have the behavior that I like. Then I mark yes and I reward physically. So again, end on a good note. It only took one correction for him to understand that he couldn't just lunge at people, and now look at his behavior. He's not running, he's just staring. So he still got a little bit of a pop because he didn't come back on the heel with me, but now he's not running crazy circles or trying to pull me all over the place. We are able to bring his loading down by just giving one good correction. And then we just end with a reward. So remember, I want to show the dog what he's doing wrong, correct him for it, show him what he needs to do right, and immediately reward him for it so that we always end on a good note. So this is not just correct. This is, let me show you what you're doing wrong, let me show you what you're supposed to do right, and then immediately afterwards end on a good note. Extremely important to understand that we need to end on a positive note. So notice there, we actually had a very good distraction. Teddy's very dog reactive. He wants to go play with other dogs. So I marked the moment he decided to leave my side. And immediately when I marked no, I turned around. So we're working with a 6-foot leash, which is what I recommend you guys do. You put your right hand on the handle, left hand just enough so that we have a buckle down. The moment he decided to go towards the other dog, I said no, dropped the leash on my left-hand side and let him bolt. Immediately I turned around. When I turn around, he hits the end of the leash and he's actually giving himself a correction. The vocal, yeah bud, the vocal is 50% surprise, 50% discomfort. He wanted to lunge over there and I actually wanted to keep going here. So notice that I didn't leave this space right here. We want to be able to teach the dog how to walk in a space this big or equivalent to 2 parking spots. Nothing bigger. Because the dog is just gonna lunge, go forward. Here, I'm gonna turn around every couple seconds. So then the dog has to pay attention of where I'm going. And no longer are they leading the walk. Notice that now I can have a loose leash here and he's making the decision to stay. He's not smelling and pulling me all over the place like he was 10 minutes ago. So again, very important to have a loose leash. Mark the moment if they decide to leave you. Turn around immediately. They're gonna give themselves a correction, which is step number 2. Recommand healed. Once they come up to your position, mark yes, and then reward physically, which is your 5th step. So keep in mind that we're always ending with a reward. I don't want to grab the leash and just correct or give the pop or throw on a pinch and go from there, right? A lot of dogs don't need a pinch. They just need the right tools. A thin leash, a loose leash, and a thin buckle up high above the neck. Yes, good boy. If we don't see changes within 3 minutes, we put the dog away and then we might need to desensitize to a pinch. But teaching a dog how to walk on a leash properly doesn't take a lot of time. 5 steps and no less than 3 minutes. No more than 3 minutes, sorry. So now you're gonna see a big difference. I'm gonna show you guys again. Teddy, heel. Come on, bud. Teddy. Teddy. So this is our first lesson. I'm not asking for him to have a perfect heel right next to me 2 inches. Yes, good boy. Right next to me the entire time. He's got 6 feet of room. I gave him 6 feet of room when he got the correction here at the beginning. As the lessons move forward and as the days goes on, I'm going to ask him to be closer, stay tighter on turns, and I'm going to start giving him less and less leash until he's right next to me. But at the beginning, that last little segment I did, I just want him to be close to me and turn with me. I don't want him bolting to see another dog or smelling the roses or trying to go to the bathroom. I just want him to be around me. So we make it really easy at first, lesson 1, and then as the days and the lessons go forward, I'm gonna ask more and more and more of him. By the time day 7 rolls around, I can do a big left turn, which is really hard because he's on my left turn. I'm gonna keep bumping into him, where I can just do a big circle and he's gonna stay with me. And he's gonna be right next to me about, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches on my left-hand side. So again, I make it super easy at the beginning. 6 feet, I just need you to stay with me and not pull me, and then we go from there. We utilize 2 parking spots. Once he understands this, then we can go on a walk where we're going in a straight line. But don't leave this area until you see your dog start focusing on you more. You want their attention to be on you, not the dog, the person, the squirrel, the leaves, the grass. I'm gonna show you guys the correction process. I'm gonna post it up and then utilize that to help you with the reward correction process. And always, 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 I can't stress this enough, end with a reward.